You ever had an idea that you knew was going to be stupid and turn out bad, but actually surprised you in the end? Well, this build turned out to be in that way. What is going on, guys? I am Venom Surge, and welcome back to another episode of an Elder Scrolls Online tutorial, a series where we go over not as much used sets, but eventually we will cover every single set in the game. Today's set is Hollowfang Thirst. This is a set from Moongrave Fane that you can get on normal or vet, up to you. It gives us crit chance, max magicka, crit chance, and then whenever you critically heal or crit damage a target, so it can be ally or friendly, you summon a AoE that after it explodes you restore about 1800 magicka and apply minor vitality to everybody in your group within 6 meters of the ball for 9 seconds. It can occur every 9 seconds. So this is based on a crit healing, unless you're a DPS, then crit damage dealing. So normally, if you're a healer, which this build is, you would think to run some sort of crit set and create a healer. Well, this is no ordinary healer. This is where my stupid idea comes in. We are using Leviathan in medium armor. This is a stamina based healer for some reason. That's what my mind decided to do with this. So Leviathan comes from Crypt of Hearts on vet or normal. This gives you max stam, crit chance, and a big crit chance. Simple as that. Now, as far as the Hollowfang, we are using 3 infused weapon damage jewelry because we are stam based, so we're getting as much weapon damage and at max stam as possible. We are using 2 daggers, both with weapon damage enchants, and they're both precise, so we can get more weapon damage going and more crit chance going. And then on the back bar, we do have a resto staff just so we can get more buffs out, and if we need to, we can heavy attack when we're out of magicka. This has the absorb magicka enchantment. It's very nice for when you heavy attack, and it is powered. For the Leviathan, we're using divines on small pieces and infused on big pieces. For our monster set, we are using a broken piece of Chokethorn. This comes from Elden Hollow 1 on vet. We are using a light piece, just that way we can get some passives going. This is infused, however, on the head with a max stamina enchant. We're using the one piece so we can get extra magicka recovery. For our second one piece, we're using Shadow Rend. This comes from Banished Cells 1 on vet, or you can buy it from the Undaunted, like in this case you would have for the shoulder. This is divines with max stam. It is light, and once again we're using it for the magicka recovery. Sorry guys, I am still getting over a sickness, so hoping these cough drops can hold me through. So on our front bar, this is our stats unbuffed, and this is our buff stats. Feel free to pause the video when you need to check out those numbers. We are using all attributes into stamina so we can get as much stamina as possible. We are currently using the Thief Stone, so that way we can get up to that 67 crit chance. If you feel like that's too much, you could go the Atronach. This will give you much more magicka recovery. You could also go to the Tower to give you more max stam for better heals, or the Warrior for more weapon damage for better heals. For our consumables, we are using the Candy Gestured coins. This gives us max stam for about 4.6k, and we get about 460 magicka recovery. We are using tri-stat potions for the most part, since we do have all the buffs as far as the weapon damage and weapon crit, but you could do Gold Coast since this gives you magicka back, or you could do the Warrior so you can make sure these buffs stay up at all times. Now on to the skills. For the first skill, we are going into the Green Balance, and we are getting a Lotus Blossom. The other morph heals an additional target, which would be better. However, we do not have a lot of magicka. Our max mag is only like 16k, so you can easily burst yourself empty from that. So I prefer this since it's only once, and it's every 60 seconds, so it lasts so much longer, and it is a lot less focus you have to do on this skill. In the animal companions, we are using Blue Betty. This gives us magicka back while it's active, but more importantly, it gives us major brutality so our weapon damage is higher. It also cleanses you every 5 seconds. One of the only stamina healing skills in the game is Echoing Vigor. This allows you to have a 15-meter radius around you that does 16.6 thousand health at over 10 seconds. With critting, this can actually get very high. And this is in the assault line, so you will need to do, I think you actually unlock this right away, so you may not even need to do PvP. The reason why I chose a Warden is because of this. Back in the green balance tree, we're using Soothing Spores. This is one of the other very rare stamina healing skills that you can use for allies. This is a cone that stretches out for 20 meters, and it heals you and allies for 11k health, and if they're closer, it heals up to 15% more. Underneath Soothing Spores, we are using Budding Seeds. When you hit this, it gives you an AoE that, while it's active, you heal for 1.7k health. If you activate this ability again, or if the timer runs out, it will heal you and all your allies for 13.5k health, which can crit. An ally can also synergize to heal for even more health. For our ulti, it's still in the green balance tree, we're using the Enchanted Forest. It's a very cheap ultimate, only 90 ultimate. It's an AoE that heals the most injured target for 11k, and it will continue to heal you and other allies for 4k every second. You generate 20 ultimate if the initial heal is under 50 health, so you can get a large chunk of your ultimate back just from using this. On our back bar, we're going into the Restoration Staff to get Combat Prayer. This is a carpet in front of you that heals for almost 11k health to you and your allies. But more importantly, this grants Minor Berserk and Minor Resolve, so keep this up at all times. In the Undaunted line, we are getting Overflowing Altar. This costs 4k health every 30 seconds, but it applies Minor Lifesteal to everybody in a 28 meter radius. Allies can also synergize to heal for 65% of their max health in case they get injured badly. In Winter's Embrace, we are getting Expansive Frost Cloak. This lasts for 20 seconds, and when you hit this, it gives everybody, not just you, but everybody, Major Resolve. Keep this up. Back in the Undaunted skill line, we are using Energy Orb. This is a ball that floats forward, so it's not stationary, you do have to follow it. It heals everybody for 2k health, and allies can synergize to heal for more health and restore resources. Back into the Restoration Staff tree, we are using Illustrious Healing. This is another AoE HOT that heals you and your allies for 2.4k health every second for 12 seconds. One of the ultimates for the back bar that you can use is Permafrost. This does about 2k frost damage every second, but it reduces enemy speed by 70% and guarantees a chilled status effect, and everybody gets major protection for your allies when they're in it. Another great option is Aggressive Warhorn. This gives everybody around you on your team max mag and max stam increase by 10%, but more importantly, it gives everybody major force so you can nuke things faster. For some honorable mentions, if you feel like you don't need any more healing or buffs, Deep Fissure is actually very good in group content. This does about 11k damage to everybody in front of you, which is a lot, but more importantly, it actually does even more on my front bar if you were to slot it there. It applies Major Breach to everybody that gets hit, so this is major for debuffing enemies. Growing Swarm would also be nice. It applies Minor Vulnerability to everybody, and it is the Stam morph. Because we do have max stam, this is something that's kind of unique about us. We could afford to do Bone Shield, specifically Bone Surge. We can spam this. It doesn't give us a big shield, but it's about the synergy, so allies can get a big shield in the first place, but that's up to you on how you want to use that. Now into the CP. Green CP doesn't really matter, we're using the Steed Blessing. This allows you to have faster movement speed outside of combat. Breakfall helps reduce your fall damage taken. I would recommend Steadfast Enchant. This allows your enchants to have a chance to not be consumed. Treasure Hunter is amazing, it gives you better loot and chests. I use Gifted Rider just so I can have better mount speed, and then War Mount, which decreases all stamina use outside of combat. In the blue tree, because we're actually critting, we want precision, and then come up here to Fighting Finesse. Even though this is usually for crit damage, it also does crit healing, which we do a lot of. Then come down here, you can come past all this, come up to Soothing Tide. Almost all of our healing is AoE, so you want this. Swift Renewal is also amazing. Almost all of our heals, once again, is HOTs, so get this. And then Rejuvenator just gives us more weapon damage towards our healing abilities. Into the red tree, we are using Fortify. This gives us more armor. We're using Boundless Vitality, which gives us more max health. We're getting Slippery, which allows us to break free automatically for no cost every 21 seconds, which we shouldn't be targeted that often since we are the healer, but it is nice for bosses. And then Spirit Mastery is probably one of the first ones I had to get, so that way you can resurrect people much faster. Now, as far as some options, if you're in PvP, Refreshing Stride can be very good, because you do sprint a lot in PvP, and this will give you more magicka recovery, which most of our stuff is magicka, even though we are stam focused. If you don't care about that sprinting, Rejuvenation could be nice, but it was nerfed a long time ago, so now it's only 90 recovery, but it's to all 3, which is much better. Now into the passes. I'm only going to cover the passes that actually matter and affect this build. Eventually, you would want to get everything. All passes affect you in some way, but I'm only going to cover the major ones. Bond with Nature, you just heal whenever your Blue Betty dies. You also gain ultimate whenever you cast your Blue Betty. The main reason why the Blue Betty is on your front bar is because of this passive. You get 12% extra recovery while it is slotted. In Green Balance, this is where you're going to want to get everything. Accelerated Growth allows a chance to get major mending whenever somebody's very low health and you heal them. Nature's Gift, you just restore magicka or stamina every second. Emerald Moss, this is why most of our Green Balance stuff is on our front bar, is because of an Emerald Moss. You get 8% extra healing done because of having them slotted. Maturation is also probably one of the first passes I would pick up as soon as possible. Whenever you heal somebody, they gain minor toughness, which increases their max health by 10%. Now, we are using a dual wield front bar. This is mainly because of the passives. Twin Blade and Blunt is really the only one I would focus on getting, since we're not doing damage and we're not focused on using the skills. Each dagger increases your crit rate by a further 812. We are using 2 daggers to get this as much as possible. If you're not running a crit build, you could do swords to increase your weapon or spell damage. In the Restro tree, I would get Essence Drain. This gives you major mending when you heavy attack, and it heals somebody for 50% of the damage inflicted. Restoration Expert also increases your healing when people are low health, so there's a lot of bonuses when people are dying. Cycle Life is amazing. You restore 30% more magicka when you heavy attack. This can do easily almost all of our magicka bar. Absorb is nice, but it is not as major as some of the other ones. Restoration Master, get it. It increases your healing by the staff spells by 5%. Now, we are using those 2 light armor monster helms. You know, the light armor penalties and bonuses are very minor. It's not that big of a deal. You can read them here if you want. The main reason why we are using them is Evocation. This gives you more magicka recovery and reduces the cost of magicka abilities, which is the majority of our spells. Spell Warding is also nice. You get quite a bit more spell resistance. Prodigy is another reason. This gives you a lot more crit chance just for having light armor on. The medium, we are all 5 medium, so there's these bonuses here, but they're not major towards this build. Dexterity is one of the other reasons why I went with a stam focused build. Because of the Hollowfang Thirst, we needed a crit. Dexterity increases your crit healing done. So we have an additional 10% crit healing because we're wearing medium armor. Windwalker is also nice for the few stam abilities we do have. And then Agility is also nice. It increases our weapon damage by a further 10%, so that way we can get even higher numbers. We are a Breton. Originally, I tested this on a Khajiit, which gives you a further, I think it's like 12% crit healing, which was better. However, I kept running out of magicka. The Breton seems to actually be perfectly enough where it helps us sustain, but we don't lose our Mundus Stone. If you could swap your Mundus Stone to magicka recovery and go to a Khajiit, that works, but you actually lose out more on your healing. Being a Breton gives us more max mag, more spell resistance, but more importantly, it gives us more magicka recovery, and then reduces the cost of magicka abilities by 7%. In the alchemy line, get medicinal use. This makes all of the buffs from your potions last 100% uptime, very important. Okay, so how to use this build. Keep your buffs up. Everything that's an HOT, just keep it up. Now there's some things that are very short. So once we get everything up here, our budding seeds only last for 6 seconds. That's going to be difficult to keep up, but that is your most mobile big heal. You can move that thing constantly while having healing springs stay in the same spot for much longer. Keep the ball going so that way people can get their resources back. Keep your armor up. Keep throwing out your carpet so that way Miri and then these people too can also get their buffs. Keep the blood fountain up. You're healing yourself. You don't need to be worrying about your max health here. Keep your potion up. If you need to, this is an amazing stamina. Did you just see that? 20.7k health right there? 20.6k? We heal for crazy numbers when we crit. And this is a stamina based heal, so we can spam it like crazy. Each time we crit, if I can get it proc, this is our Hollowfang Thirst set that gives us more magicka. So you want to be in that when that thing explodes. Now to take this into a very stupid dungeon, I am going into Vet Folkreath Hold. So normally you would not want to run this solo, obviously, and this is on Vet, as you can see here. So we're just going to walk into here, and first we're going to aggro this first group here, like this. Now I tested this earlier and I survived quite easily actually. We're just gonna sit in here and let them hit me and stuff. So I'm squishy. You guys saw my stats when I was buffed. Okay, so I can't survive easily. I have no armor. And you can see my health dips constantly. But I'm still surviving. Okay, now this is only this first group. So let's bring in the other friends that we know of down the road. Now, when I tested this part, they definitely hurt a lot more because there's a lot more of them. Might pop our ulti here. Look how close our health is getting. Now, we're actually running out of stamina, which is weird to see. So that means we just need to focus more on our... I said more on. We just need to focus more on our healing that is magicka based. But as you can see, I mean, they're struggling to kill me. And look at our max mag. We are surviving, and the magicka is actually kind of sustaining itself pretty well, I think. Now, it looks like we're starting to get pretty low here, but now that we got our resources back, we can start pushing further up. If you need, you can pop your budding seeds again, just that way you can get more healing instantly. And that is how most of these big heals are coming from, is our healing budding seeds is deactivating, and there we finally died. As you guys can see, we actually survived extremely well, and that was on Vet Folkreath Hold, which is a very difficult DLC dungeon, and the fact that I actually survived that long was quite impressive to me, considering this is a stamina based build and all my resources are spread out everywhere. Now, because this is a PTS, we don't have many players on to do some dungeons with, sadly, so I couldn't show you that way, but I feel like that was a good representation of what this build has to offer, and all of that is AoE. There was not a single skill that was just for myself, maybe other than the Lotus Flower, but even then that's when you light attack or heavy attack, and I wasn't doing it that much. So everything there that you saw was AoE. So everybody in your group is getting those buffs and that healing, and we are squishy. Look at our resistances again. Now, we do apply the major resolve to everybody, but we should be one of the squishiest people in our group, so that will make it a lot easier for them to survive, considering we can survive that easily. Now on to the outfit. For our head, we are using nothing. For the breastplate, we are using the light Fargrave Guardian. For the shoulders, we are using the light Cold Snap Goblin. For the gloves, we are using light Mazatoon. For the waist, we are using Light Ancestral Akaviri. For the legs, we are using Soul Zan. For the feet, we are using Prophet's Sandals. For the dagger in the right hand, we are using Crimson Oath. For the dagger in the left hand, we are using Night Hollow. For the staff, we are using the Fishstick Staff. As for the colors, the dark blue, we are using Shrike Blue. For the teal color, we are using Welkind Blue. And then for the gray on the breastplate and then on the daggers, we are using Windhelm Steel. And I'll run through the color slots for you guys. So guys, this was an interesting build from the start. As soon as I saw that it was a crit based healer, I originally was going to go that light armor set up that you would normally think of, like maybe with Mother Sorrow or some other crit heal set. But I saw that medium armor passive and I put 2 and 1 together and I got 5, so we made this stam healer. Like and subscribe if you guys want to see more of this content. If there is any other sets in the game that you would like me to check out, please leave it down in the comments and I will be sure to do so in the upcoming videos. We also do some Destiny 2, Minecraft, modded Minecraft, God of War series outside of this, so there's plenty of content to go around in our channel here. Subscribe and you can join the Venom Surge Syndicate, and I will see you guys next time.